when he doesn't block that resignation honours list, what are you going to do about it?
Well, I think that will just expose Rishi Sunak as for being weak, lacking backbone. There's a nickname that goes around Parliament. They call him Inaction Man, because on all these big issues facing the country, he's like a rabbit in the headlights. He's failing to bring down the NHS waiting lists, which are now at record levels.
We know that, Jonathan. Just answer the question that I've asked you. We know this, and you come on, you say it every time, and I appreciate that there is a time and a place for that. But if you could answer the question that I've asked you, what are you going to do when he ignores your letter?
Well, we'll keep pressing him, because I think in the end, as you were quite rightly saying in the introduction there, the decisions made by the Conservatives 12 months ago ran the economy off a cliff. It led to a run on pension funds and mortgage rates increasing by hundreds, if not thousands of pounds for LBC listeners across the country. And people are really struggling. I mean, it's the weekly shopping, it's the energy bills, mortgages or the rent. And then for Liz Truss today, there's one bit you didn't say. I thought you were going to say it. And this is unbelievable. She's writing a book called 10 Years to Save the West, when for 44 days she trashed our economy. You could not make this up. The brass neck. And I really think the idea that she hands out gongs and honours to all her cronies and friends, look, Rishi Sunak could step in and stop this. He really could.
I was reading before I came on air that Sir Keir Starmer has said that he will not be going if he is elected Prime Minister, and you guys are 20 points ahead, so that there's a strong possibility that you will form the next government. He says that if he were Prime Minister, he would not have a resignation on his list. Why is it even a matter of choice? Why doesn't Labour say, right, you know what, we are not going to let Prime Ministers going forward create resignation on his list, because they do nothing more than reward cronyism?
I think the system needs reforming. Neither Gordon Brown nor Tony Blair.
The system needs ending. It needs ending, doesn't it?
We definitely need to reform it and look at it. Gordon Brown and Tony Blair didn't use this system, and this gets a bit confusing. So just so that the listeners are aware, this is different to when people go to the House of Lords because they've got years of public service or they're politicians. This is a particular list that a Prime Minister, when they stop being Prime Minister, is allowed to just hand out honours, not just peerages, but knighthoods and CBEs and all the rest of it, to their mates. Yeah. I mean, it is ridiculous. So it does need reform. That's why Keir Starmer said he wouldn't do it. But that's different from the way in which people get into the House of Lords who want to be, add something to or want to serve the public. As lots of different people get in the House of Lords up through that route. This is simply outgoing Prime Ministers. Bear in mind, outgoing. By their nature, most Prime Ministers do not leave office because they wanted to. They're usually kicked out by the electorate or forced to resign, like Boris Johnson or Liz Truss, often in disobliging circumstances. And yet, even though they've been rejected by the British public, they're allowed to hand out these honours. So the system does need reform.
So I'm more than happy to defer to your greater knowledge on this. But as far as I'm aware, Prime Ministerial resignation honours lists are merely a convention. Is there nothing Labour can do, if it was the party of government, to end them? You keep saying reform. What actually needs to happen is they need to be ended by your own admission, because they're nothing more than a reward for acolytes and cronies.
Yeah, well, yes, it definitely needs to be reformed, because all it is...
No, Jonathan. I've just asked you why Labour won't commit to ending it.
Well,
that's not reform, ending it, just ending it.
Well, we want to reform the system. But look, what you're putting to me is not an unreasonable point, and that's obviously something we are going to consider very carefully as part of a broader package of reform. So how we reform the House of Lords, because bear in mind, we actually think the House of Lords should be elected. It should be elected, and if you have an elected House of Lords, people would not be getting in via these sorts of systems. So when I talked about reform, I'm talking about a bigger set of reforms that we want to bring to how people get into the House of Lords.
But that would take much longer. But that would take much longer, wouldn't it? Simply putting a stop to...
Hang on a minute. Depends how long you think Keir Starmer's going to be Prime Minister for. Anyway. If we can we want to get an elected House of Lords, and that was part of one of Keir Starmer's priorities.
Okay, look, time is short because I know you've got other things to do and lots of calls coming in and I want to get to them. I've just got a couple of other questions for you on a couple of other matters. At 3:00, we're going to be discussing the idea from Keir Starmer that 16 and 17-year-olds should be given the vote at general elections. Many people say that's a good idea. It would help people, young people, become more involved in politics. But it would also appear that members of the Labour Party are not so sure. Senior Labour MP Graham Stringer is today quoted saying it's a terrible idea and that the line needs to be drawn somewhere and that he just believes that youngsters at 16 are not mature enough to exercise that right.
16-year-olds can obviously get a job and pay tax, income tax. They can make decisions about their personal life. They can smoke, if not like buying cigarettes is different, but they can smoke. 17, you can start, having a driving test and so on. So I think that people in that position are already showing responsibility, and I think this is a good way in which you can engage with people in politics.
Ex-Labour Minister Tom Harris is quoted as saying, this is just gerrymandering, pure and simple. It's being put forward because Labour policy wonks think 16-year-olds are more likely to vote for Labour over Tory. That doesn't feel very like a very honest approach to politics by Keir Starmer in that case, if that's true, does it?
I'm not sure if that's right, that 16-year-olds are more likely. I mean, at the moment, everybody's fed up with the Tories at the moment. But is there evidence that 16-year-olds are always going to be Labour?
There's an analysis I looked at briefly this morning in the Guardian Observer that was showing that where voting for 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds was introduced, they do tend to vote for so-called progressive parties.
But I've not studied it. Is there really enough 16-year-olds to swing an election one way or the other? I say that, I'm asking that in a sense of genuine, debate, because it's not an analysis I've looked at, because we're not going on whether this is good for this party or that party. It's more a broader point that if 16-year-olds are beginning to participate in society more widely and they're paying tax and making other adult decisions, then they should have a say over who governs the country and who their local member of parliament is. Look at it like this, yeah. You can join a political party when you're 16. So if you were a 16-year-old in the Conservative Party, you would have been able to vote for Liz Truss to become the Prime Minister, but you wouldn't have been able to vote for your local Member of Parliament.